Chelsea, Massachusetts is a city just north of Boston that is close to downtown Boston as the crow flies, but farther from downtown Boston in terms of transit time when compared to similar areas. This video will briefly explain a few items to take into consideration if you're thinking about living in Chelsea. Chelsea is located just across the Mystic River from Charlestown and just across Chelsea Creek from East Boston, and it's very convenient to get to these two Boston neighborhoods if they're your destination. However, as you can see, if your destination isn't close to the North Station, getting from Chelsea to the rest of Boston by train requires a bit of maneuvering on your part. The single commuter rail line that runs through Chelsea will get you to TD Garden for a Celtics game, but beware that commuter rail does not run nearly as often as a subway. Thus, your time window to commute is limited. I personally think you would want to own a car while living in Chelsea, which comes with its own added monthly expense. And if you did rely on your car for your commute into Boston, you would either have to pay a toll every time you went into the city or take a much longer route. And having driven this much longer route to save a couple bucks before, it's usually filled with lots of other people trying to save money, which makes it even more backed up with traffic. So as you can see, Chelsea's location is one massive consideration when deciding whether or not to live here. Since the area is right on public transit, you will find Chelsea to be much more affordable than other parts of the greater Boston area. If you're on a budget, Chelsea is definitely a worthwhile neighborhood to have on your list. Property here also tends to be cheaper than other areas this close to Boston if you're looking to buy, although still more expensive than housing should be in my opinion, but that's a problem everywhere in Boston. Granted, the lack of public transportation options compared to the rest of the Boston area is not the only factor making Chelsea cheap. Chelsea does have a higher crime rate when compared to other pockets of the city, and I haven't done a deep dive of the data, so I can't vouch, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those cases where the crime is committed between two individuals who already know each other, as opposed to a crime being committed against a stranger walking down the street alone. I'll let you explore Chelsea and make whatever call about crime in the area makes you comfortable. Additionally, if you're looking to buy a home and raise kids in Chelsea, know that the public schools aren't rated particularly high. The state of Massachusetts does public schooling better than most states in the country, so be sure you're okay with living in Massachusetts and not taking advantage of one of the many surrounding neighborhoods with reputable schools. Chelsea also lacks some of the nightlife and cultural amenities that can be found in other parts of the Boston area. If you want to go out with your friends, you're probably going to want to commute to other parts of the city, and as discussed at the beginning of the video, other parts of the city can be difficult to get to. I guess you could count the Encore Casino as Chelsea nightlife option, but that's in neighboring Everett, and it doesn't strike me as being a destination that is catered to locals. It wouldn't be fair not to mention some of the parks Chelsea has to offer. Maybe not the most spectacular, but I do enjoy the Mary O'Malley State Park right on the Mystic River. Not a bad view of the Tobin Bridge and the Boston skyline. Chelsea is a bit further out from other parts of the city so that you get a more normal grocery store experience. Assuming you have a car, you'll have a fairly standard weekly grocery run. Just note that the Market Basket is a popular spot on the weekends, so plan ahead accordingly. Here's a list of the average rents in Chelsea per Zumper.com. A studio will run you about $1,500 per month. A one-bedroom apartment will cost you about $2,300 per month. A two-bedroom apartment will cost you about $2,500 per month. And a three-bedroom apartment will cost you about $2,700 per month. These are the rent prices captured at the beginning of 2023. Rent prices in Boston have been fluctuating wildly, and they do so throughout the course of the year. So if you're watching this video in a couple years, or honestly just a couple months, be sure to do your own research on these numbers. So this concludes my incredibly brief overview of Chelsea. I hadn't planned on making a video about this area, but I did receive a request to complete one. I realized I didn't go incredibly in depth, but the big things about Chelsea really are that it's relatively close to Boston, affordable compared to other areas with a similar proximity to Boston, and that it's not necessarily the easiest area to get to due to lack of public transportation. If I missed any important aspects of Chelsea, please let me know in the comments. Please like the video if you enjoyed, and please subscribe to see similar videos.